This is part two of me talking about Supergirl villains, starting off with Gamemnae, who I thought was really overshadowed by Lex Luthor. I thought the character might have a slither of potential, but then that got shot down when she got killed. So overall, I thought that the character was really unnecessary to the plot, as everything that she did, I thought Lex Luthor could have done. So I thought the character was, in my opinion, just kind of wasted and unneeded. Next is her partner in crime, Rama Khan, who I thought was a bit better than Gamemnae in my opinion. I thought the character also got time to shine as Gamemnae didn't. So I thought the character, compared to Gamemnae, was a lot better. But still, I thought the character was not necessarily needed for the story itself. I thought he would make a good one-off, one-episode villain, but as a major villain in the season, it just didn't really work. I do think the actor who played him did a much better job than the actress who played Gamemnae. So I think his character did kind of rise above her and also overshadowed her weirdly, despite the fact that he was technically her henchman. So either way, I thought Rama Khan was pretty good. Next up is Eve Tessmacher, who is, in my opinion, also a pretty good villain, and a really, really good henchwoman, in my opinion. I like that she had a bit of an add layer, the idea that she was being threatened and her mom was being threatened, so you kind of felt bad for the character, but at the same time, you're mad at the character for betraying Lena, for betraying Kara, for literally murdering people, for murdering Jeremiah, everything. However, I thought her story was kind of abruptly ended, as the character admitted to murder, yet they never really explained what happened to her afterwards. I presume she went to prison, but still, we never actually got confirmation of that, or if she didn't. Overall, I thought the character was, in my opinion at least, a pretty good villain, even if it wasn't exactly a 10 out of 10 villain. Next is Malefic, who I thought was, in my opinion, a very, very good villain for Martian Manhunter. Even if I do feel like they kind of retconned him into existence, as we never knew about his brother, which I know it was because he got mind wiped from Martian Manhunter's mind, from him by himself. But either way, I thought the character was a little bit retconned into existence, but I was okay with it, because I thought Malefic was very good. It probably helped by the actor who plays him, because I thought he was, in my opinion at least, great. I love Phil Lamar. I thought he was amazing in the role. And I thought the character overall was very interesting, the idea of seeing an evil Martian compared to a good Martian. Because he was the only evil Martian we actually really saw. I mean, other than the white Martians, who are a bit different. So it's nice to see that, because we always see evil Kryptonians. So it's nice to see an evil Martian, who's actually related to the good Martian. Next is Silver Banshee, who I thought started off great, and I thought the character looked actually very much like the character in the comics, but she kind of just disappeared. Like, very weirdly. Like, they were setting her up to be this big bad, then after season 1, she just never came back. So it was really odd to me that they were just showing so much of this character's history and why she has her powers and her anger for Kara and their rivalry, just for her to just vanish for no real reason. Either way, I thought the character was still really good, and I did like her power set. Even if I will say this, she's not as strong as she was in the comics, but I was okay with it because she was just learning her power, so it wasn't really like they nerfed her. It was just more or less that she was just getting started. I personally would have liked her to be maybe the main villain in season 2, but that never happened, unfortunately. Maybe that's the direction they were heading to, because they seemed really adamant to have the character be a big focus of her arc, because it was weird to me, because she wasn't being set up as a villain of the week. She was being set up as a big villain, but she really just became the villain of the week. Next is Livewire. I really like this version of Livewire, even if her wig is kind of, it's a thing, alright. It's not the best wig, but the actress who plays her, I think, really rises above her awful wig. And her power set, her power set was really cool, and I think the visual effects on her powers are, in my opinion at least, probably some of the better visual effects that Supergirl has, because I thought the character was, in my opinion at least, very much as powerful as she's from the comics. With the whole her traveling through electricity, and that she actually held her own against Supergirl, which I thought was very impressive. She also held her own against the Flash, even. I think the character is, in my opinion at least, very underrated. I wish she didn't get killed off, but she did. And I did like her team up with Silver Banshee, and I thought the character overall was a very good recurring villain. I really wish the character wasn't killed off in season 3. Next is Red Tornado. I'll be honest, I absolutely hated his design in the first season. I thought the character was so different from the comics, to the point where he wasn't even the character from the comics, like, at all. However, I will say this, even though the character, in my opinion, was very bad looking and nothing like Red Tornado from the comics in the first season, I thought later on during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, wait, no, not Crisis on Infinite Earths, Crisis on Earth X, I mean, and season 6, I thought the character had a much, much better design. It was a lot more slicker and made the character not look like a man in red paint. I mean, obviously still was, but he didn't look like that and it wasn't distracting. Like, it wasn't, so obviously just a guy in a suit. Overall, I thought the character was really weak, but I will say that I think the character later on in the series, instead of season 1, that being season 6 in Crisis on Earth X, the character did look like the character in the comics, and his power set was like the character in the comics, but he didn't act like it. Next is Sai, who, like Silver Banshee, really just weirdly disappeared at one point. I thought the character was really building up to becoming a recurring villain, and then she just never came back. I thought her powers are very, very visually not exactly the best, but they were still, in my opinion, pretty effective on different people. And I thought whoever her powers were on, it really depended on the actor playing the character. Because like Melissa Benoist, when she got affected, I thought did a great job showing her whole symptoms and stuff. But when she went to the bank, I thought the extras who were, portraying the whole, going crazy stuff didn't do that good of a job, and it kind of made it look kind of silly. But whenever she used her powers on Saturn Girl or Supergirl, I thought that the actors who play Saturn Girl and Melissa Benoist, I thought really, really brought a lot to make Sai come across a lot better than I thought she did when she went after the bank. Because when she went after the bank, I really felt the extras kind of crossed the line a little bit. I also liked that she used her powers on Rain, and I thought very effectively at least. And last but not least is Rhea, who I thought the writing for was, in my opinion at least, really, really bad. But the actress who plays her, who once played Lois Lane, was actually very good in the role. I thought it made the character a lot more interesting by bringing a bit of a quirkiness to her, which made her kind of step away from the Aunt Astra stuff. Because I thought the writing for Rhea and the writing for Astra were nearly identical. Like, they were literally identical. But I thought the actresses were very different. And I thought the actress who played Rhea really made herself feel very different than Astra. So I think that she does a very good job in that role. And I thought she really gave it her best. Even if, like I said, I think the writing for the character was not the best. And that's it. Like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.